What does Prince Harry actually do for a living? For years, Prince Harry was known primarily as a member of the British royal family, the younger son of King Charles III and the late Diana, Princess of Wales. But after stepping back from his role as a senior working royal in 2020, Harry's professional life changed dramatically. He went from royal engagements and military service to a very different world involving charities, media production, public speaking, technology, and commercial partnerships. But here's the big question. What is Prince Harry's actual profession today? Is he a businessman, a philanthropist, a media executive, a producer, a former military officer, or simply a member of the royal family who has moved into a completely different career? Today, we're going to take a detailed look at Prince Harry's professional journey, from his early years in the army to his current work. And some of the things he does today might surprise you. Before Prince Harry became involved in commercial projects and media production, he had a very different career. Unlike many people who are born into wealthy and influential families, Harry chose to pursue a professional military career. In 2005, Harry entered the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst. This was an important moment because it marked the beginning of his life outside the traditional royal routine. After completing his training, he was commissioned as an officer in the British Army. Harry served in the army for approximately 10 years. During his military career, he served with the Household Cavalry and later became an Apache helicopter pilot. This was not simply a ceremonial position. Harry received serious military training and served in Afghanistan. He completed 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan, making his military career one of the most significant professional chapters of his life. During his service, Harry developed a strong interest in supporting military personnel and veterans. And that interest would later become one of the foundations of his professional life. Harry's military career is particularly important because it gave him professional experience that had nothing to do with being a prince. He wasn't simply attending ceremonies. He trained as a soldier and later as an Apache helicopter pilot. The Apache is a sophisticated attack helicopter, and becoming an Apache pilot requires extensive training. Harry eventually qualified as an Apache aircraft commander. His military career also influenced the way the public viewed him. For many people, Harry became known as the royal who had actually served on the battlefield. He later became heavily involved in projects supporting veterans and wounded service members. One of his most important achievements in this area was the creation of the Invictus Games. The Invictus Games is an international sporting event for wounded, injured and sick service personnel and veterans. Harry founded the event in 2014. The idea was inspired partly by his military experience and his desire to support people who had experienced serious physical or psychological challenges while serving. The Invictus Games eventually became a major international organization. So although Harry eventually left the military remained deeply connected to his professional identity. Harry left the British Army in 2015, but leaving the military didn't mean the end of his professional activities. Instead, his work increasingly moved toward charitable causes. He continued supporting veterans and military families. He also became involved with numerous charitable organizations and initiatives. For years, Harry's public work largely revolved around causes such as mental health, young people, veterans, conservation, and community development. One important part of his professional identity was therefore philanthropy. But something major was about to happen. In January 2020, Harry and Meghan announced that they intended to step back as senior working members of the royal family. That decision changed almost everything. The couple eventually moved away from the previous royal working arrangements and established their lives in the United States. And with that move came an entirely new professional chapter. After stepping away from their senior royal roles, Harry and Meghan needed to develop a new way of supporting themselves financially. They could no longer depend on the same system of public funding associated with their former royal duties. This opened the door to commercial opportunities. One of the biggest developments came in 2020, when Harry and Meghan signed a major multi-year deal with Netflix. Their production company, Archwell Productions, became involved in producing television and documentary projects. This represented a dramatic change in Harry's career. Instead of simply appearing at official royal events, he was now participating in the entertainment industry. He became an executive producer on projects. And this meant that Harry was no longer simply the subject of documentaries. He was also involved in creating them. One of the most notable projects was the Netflix documentary series Harry and Meghan, released in 2022. The series focused heavily on their relationship, their experiences as members of the royal family, and the decision to step away from royal duties. It became one of the most talked about royal-related productions of the modern era. Whether people agreed with the couple or criticized them, one thing was clear. Harry had entered the world of media production. So, can Prince Harry actually be described as a media professional? To some extent, yes. Through Archwell Productions, Harry and Meghan have worked on documentary and entertainment projects. Harry has taken producer roles on various projects connected with the company. This means his professional responsibilities can involve developing stories, participating in production decisions, and helping bring projects to audiences. One example is the documentary series Heart of Invictus. The series followed competitors preparing for the Invictus Games and explored the personal journeys. This project was particularly relevant to Harry because the Invictus Games is one of the causes most closely associated with him. Another project associated with Harry was Live to Lead, which featured prominent figures discussing leadership and social issues. These projects demonstrate how Harry has moved from being a royal figure appearing in media to becoming involved in media production himself. But entertainment isn't the only area in which he works. Another part of Harry's professional life is public speaking. As one of the world's most recognizable public figures, Harry has enormous public visibility. That visibility can translate into opportunities to speak at events and participate in discussions. Harry has spoken publicly about subjects including mental health, military service, grief, leadership and personal experiences. He has also participated in interviews, conferences and public events. Public speaking is therefore another important part of his professional profile. And unlike his former royal engagements, these activities are not necessarily performed as part of an official royal role. Instead, they can be connected to his personal projects, charitable interests and professional partnerships. This distinction is important. Prince Harry is still a member of the British royal family by birth. But professionally, he is no longer operating in the same way as a working royal. One of Harry's most interesting professional roles came in the technology and mental health sector. In 2021, Harry became Chief Impact Officer at BetterUp, a Silicon Valley-based company specializing in professional coaching and mental fitness. This was a surprising career move. Harry had gone from British Army officer and working royal to working with a technology company. At BetterUp, his role was associated with helping promote conversations around mental fitness, coaching and personal development. The position also connected with Harry's long-standing interest in mental health. His public discussions about mental well-being had already attracted considerable attention. His role at BetterUp showed that his professional activities were expanding beyond charity and entertainment. He was now associated with the corporate and technology world as well. However, it is important to distinguish between being a company executive and being the owner of a company. Harry's role at BetterUp does not mean he founded the company. Rather, he joined the organization in a leadership and advocacy-oriented position. Another major professional development came through Harry's writing. In 2023, he released his memoir, Spare. The book became a global publishing phenomenon. It explored Harry's childhood, his relationship with members of the royal family, the death of his mother Diana, his military career, his relationship with Meghan, and his experiences after leaving royal duties. The publication of the memoir demonstrated another side of Harry's professional life. He had become an author. Writing a memoir is very different from being a working royal. It involves working with publishers, editors and literary professionals and making decisions about what stories to tell. The book also generated enormous international attention. But perhaps more importantly, it established Harry as a commercially successful author. His professional activities therefore expanded yet again, from military service, to charity, to media, technology and publishing. Despite his commercial activities, philanthropy remains a major part of Harry's professional identity. Through the Archwell Foundation and other initiatives, Harry and Meghan have supported various causes. These include mental health, young people, veterans, community initiatives and humanitarian causes. The Invictus Games remains especially important. Harry's involvement demonstrates how personal experience can influence professional purpose. His years in the military shaped his understanding of service members. His experiences with grief and public scrutiny influenced his interest in mental health. And his royal background gives him a global platform that few people possess. This combination has allowed Harry to build a professional identity around advocacy. He is therefore not easily placed into one category. He's not simply a businessman. He's not simply a philanthropist. And he's not simply a media personality. His career is a combination of several worlds. So let's answer the big question. What is Prince Harry's profession? The simplest answer is, Prince Harry is a philanthropist, author, media producer and public figure, with professional involvement in organizations and projects outside his former role as a working royal. He also has a background as a military officer and remains closely associated with veterans' causes. His work with Archwell Productions has connected him to television and documentary production. His work with BetterUp connected him to the technology and coaching industry. His memoir established him as a published author, and his charitable activities continue to form a major part of his public life. Therefore, describing Harry simply as a prince doesn't fully explain what he does professionally. His career has evolved considerably. But there's an important distinction. Harry did not stop being a prince when he stepped back from royal duties. He remains a member of the British royal family by birth. What changed was his role. Harry and Meghan stopped being senior working royals. That meant Harry's professional life could develop outside the traditional structure of royal service. And that's exactly what we've seen. His career after royal life has been a mixture of business, entertainment, writing, charity and advocacy. So, what do you think? Was Prince Harry right to build a professional career outside the royal family? Do you see him primarily as a philanthropist, businessman, author, media producer, or simply Prince Harry? Let us know your opinion in the comments. And if you enjoy fascinating stories about the British royal family, royal history and the lives behind the crowns, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Because there's always another royal story waiting to be uncovered. Thanks for watching.